Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Another week, another episode. This is Stats Over Politics. As always, I'm your host, Shaun Holko, alongside my guys, Mr. Jaevon Toddy, Mr. Kaz Johnson of Kazzy Bear TV, and Mr. Kevin Dent making his triumphant return. Kevin, I'm going to start things off with you, and then we're going to get to Kaz next because we have two panelists whose team is in the Super Bowl. And so, Kevin, how are we feeling on this Monday?
I'm feeling well, man. I'm doing great. I'm happy to be back with the guys. I was talking to my wife today, and I was like, man, I ain't been on in 2 weeks, and we won. What if I come on and jinx this shit? I was like, but the people got to hear from me. I was like, I don't know. So we'll see. So we'll see if I appear next week. I was like, today it doesn't matter because it's not a game of following, but gotta keep the mojo going. But, I'm doing well. As Kaz is doing, we're on a high. I'm just happy the world finally gets to see what I've been preaching all year. Best team in the world, man, and now we get to show it on the biggest stage yet again.
Kaz, for the audio-only listeners, you got a big smile on your face right now, rocking a lime green shirt. And so, how you feeling about your Eagles?
I can't put into words. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, I've been saying a lot of shit on Twitter. I've been saying a lot of stuff to my friends all week leading up to the game. I'm like, I'm really not worried. And it came off as cocky, and unfortunately, just it is what it is when you know. So I'm smiling because the second that they beat Detroit, I said, this is the easiest route to the Super Bowl if I've ever seen one in my entire life. I'm 34 years old. I'm a grandpa. Okay, this is the easiest route. And yeah, we saw what happened. So I'm happy, very happy.
Jaevon Toddy, you and I have not been happy in weeks when it comes to being a sports fan. And I know that things just got a little worse for your heart there with that Amen Thompson game winner against your Celtics. But you're so welcome. And so as my fellow 49ers fan, how are we feeling as the Chiefs and the Eagles are going to duke it out in the Super Bowl rematch in 2 weeks?
We lost money this weekend. It's okay. It's part of the game. Hey, man, I'm not really.
No. What was the bet?
Oh, I have Commanders +6. I had Commanders plus. I said y'all was gonna win, though. I'll take that one on the chin. That's okay. I just had this thing where every time I bet against Jaden Daniels, I lose. So I was scared that I was gonna lose again, but the Eagles were gonna win. So yeah, that didn't go. That was over with like halftime. I called Kevin like third quarter. Said congratulations. Kevin said, "Get off of my phone. I'm not ready for it."
I said, man, I've seen crazier things happen. Toddy, get off.
Hey, that's my biggest pet peeve, bro, and that happened every playoff game so far. Somebody that I bet money against third quarter here. Dude, it ain't over. Wait till the clock is 0 before you do this fucking me pay you in advance type shit. My Rams friend did it to me last week. He paid me well early, $25. I'm like, bro, there's a whole quarter of football left. What are you doing? And they about came back. And I'm like, don't do that. Stop doing that. Pay me after the game's done. Stop this. You guys got it. Quit. Because what it is reverse psychology. I'm not stupid.
Truly.
You're hoping that the inevitable won't happen.
I know. And Stafford drove down the field.
And then, he was driving down the field like crazy. They scored 2 seconds after that big Saquon run. So I can't stand that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's totally understandable, especially because I was that guy in our group chat a couple weeks or last week against the Rams where I said, congratulations, Kaz and Kevin. And Kaz, you immediately said, don't say that. It's too early. Like, still another quarter left. And then the Rams proceeded to do what they did. Toddy and I had a little fun with it. Obviously, the Eagles ended up winning. But it's a great point. And before we get into today's episode number 133 of Stats Over Politics, as we're going to dive into both conference championship games. Then we're going to close it out with 2 of our favorite recurring segments, This or That and Shaun's Pop Quiz. And before we get there, I just wanted to highlight a couple of these YouTube comments. We really appreciate you all for tuning in. As Sister Alex says, let's get it. Kyle says, I hate to say it, but fly, Eagles, fly. Uncle Manny says, congratulations to our Eagles fans. Let's go Chiefs with the laughing emoji. And Sunny, a.k.a. Chicken, says, let's fucking go. It's chicken, by the way. Eagles Super Bowl. We about to wrap this up. I put the whole ship on Eagles to take this preseason, man. Sunny / Chicken, if you end up officially cashing that from a preseason. That's going to be some big, big money right there. And so, guys, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it. As the Philadelphia Eagles in the first game of Sunday absolutely crushed the Commanders, 55-23. Was not a close game. The final score ended up being a lot bigger of a differential than the game was for most of it. But the Eagles absolutely stomped them out in the fourth quarter, and they turned what was a 12-point game into a 32-point win. So, Kevin, as our homegrown Eagles fan on this podcast, you've been rocking with this team since the days of Michael Vick, and now to see them going back to the third Super Bowl of your fandom, and hopefully for you, they end up getting their second ring. But just take me through how you were feeling during this NFC Championship game that was hardly even competitive.
You know, Shaun, before I get started, I do have a request from my cousin. He is a Commanders fan. He asked for you to go first so he can hear the praise of the season before he has to hear the three of us get on him, because he saw that you were the only person to choose the Commanders. And he says, let's let Shaun talk first because Kevin's going to just talk shit on us. So I would love to hear Shaun go first. So I was going to give the listeners what they wanted, Shaun. They would love to hear you go first.
I feel honored. What's your cousin's name?
His name is Tyson.
Shout out to Tyson. I appreciate you, Tyson, because it's rare when I go first on a game recap, and I really appreciate that. Yes, I picked the Commanders. I was the only one who picked the Commanders. And part of the reason behind that is, number one, I didn't want to see that everybody graphic for an NFC Championship game because I knew Kaz and Kevin were going to pick the Eagles. Toddy is a smart man. He was going to pick the Eagles, and I didn't want to see that everybody graphic, but I also have become a believer in Jaden Daniels, understandably so. And for the Commanders to go from a team that some of us thought Toddy was crazy for saying the Commanders were going to go to the playoffs, and to have them go not to the playoffs, but to the NFC Championship game led by rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels, that is a hell of an accomplishment. Everyone was talking shit about Cliff Kingsbury. Everybody was talking shit about Dan Quinn. Even the 49ers former assistant GM, Adam Peters, and saying, oh, they're piecing this all together. It's not going to work. Zach Ertz is old. Meanwhile, Zach Ertz had how many catches yesterday? Like 9 catches. He tried to have a revenge game against the Eagles.
Man.
Yeah, he was stupid. I think he had 10 catches for $1 something. I could.
Yeah, he was over 100 yards.
Oh yeah, he had 10 catches.
Yeah, Zach Ertz. Yeah, Toddy. And so Zach Ertz, he had himself a game, and everyone's saying he's washed. And so for the Commanders, I understand that Commanders fans want to make it as far as they possibly can. And now the fact that the season is officially over, it's a disappointment. But as I've talked for weeks, one of my coworkers at the Union Democrat here in Sonora, he's a man who's 63 years old. He has seen a lot of terrible Washington football for decades. And what he has been saying to me ever since they clinched a playoff spot is he's just happy every single step of the way they get there, because he knew that they were playing with house money, and he knew not to take it for granted. And when I was talking to him after they beat Detroit, he was just like, man, I just couldn't believe it. And I'm just enjoying it and living in the moment. And I'm so glad that Commanders fans are able to enjoy that. I know, and Kevin, you're a Sacramento Kings fan. Kaz, you're not big on the NBA, but there are plenty of Philadelphia 76ers fans who absolutely hate Josh Harris, the brand new owner of the Commanders, because he also owns the 76ers. And because he's the owner of the 76ers, the Sixers haven't been posting any content supporting the Eagles or congratulating the Eagles or anything. And there's plenty of 76ers fans who are upset with Josh Harris. Meanwhile, Commanders fans are praising the Lord for Josh Harris, for getting them out of the dark days of Daniel Snyder. But this season in its entirety was just an absolute win for the Commanders. And even having your season end with a 32-point loss, the fact that they got this far, especially this coming from a 49ers fan who, I can't speak for Toddy, but for myself, I said earlier this year, I don't care about regular season wins anymore, because I'm just waiting for the playoffs to start, because I've gotten spoiled as a 49ers fan. That's truly being spoiled. Meanwhile, Commanders fans, they were just hoping and praying to get to the playoffs. And for them to get to the playoffs and to win 2 road games, it was an accomplishment in itself. There was definitely some politicking behind my picks. So not only did I not want to see the everybody graphic, and Kevin, I'm sure you caught this at the end of last week's episode, but Kaz put his investigative journalist hat on, and he was like, why are you picking against the Eagles? Or why do you hate on the Eagles? And he was asking me all these questions and getting to the root of it all. But so there was some politicking. I didn't want to see the everybody graphic. But I've also, after being crowned the regular season champ of our pick'em, I've been doing terrible in the playoffs. And so I just knew if I want to try to get back into this, I got to pick against Kevin because Kevin is way in the lead right now. I had to pick against Kevin. I knew he was picking the Eagles. So I'm like, all right, I'm going Commanders. And just for that small chance, just for the tiny chance that the Commanders actually won that game, I would have been able to come on here, puff out my chest, feel good about myself as the only one who picked the Commanders. Instead, I was wrong. And shout out to Cousin Tyson for wanting me to go first and hear about his Commanders, because just like my coworker at the newspaper I work at, also my half brother, his stepfather is a Commanders fan. He's a Commanders fan who still very passionately refers to them as the team name that starts with an R. And you know, there are just so many Commanders fans out there that are so passionate about their team that have suffered for so long. And I can also relate to that as a Kings fan. That was part of my explanation last week to Kaz was I'm a Kings fan. I've been through a lot, so I can kind of relate to what Commanders fans have gone through for a long time. And so just tip of the cap to Washington. It was a great season. The fact that they got this far is an accomplishment in itself. I know it's probably extra bittersweet considering the fact that they got bounced by 32 points and no less by a division rival. But they should be proud that they even got here. And so congrats to the Commanders for an absolutely great season. Now, Kevin, if you could write their obituary for me.
So my wife is kind of a Lions fan, and she's like, Kevin, how did you guys bounce back from losing both of your coordinators? I said, it took a lot of time. So before I get going, I just want to give a congratulations to Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore, because what they have done for us this season has taken this team to levels that I'm sure Kaz and I, after watching us lose 6 games in a row, thought we would never be able to reach. For us to only add 2 assistant coaches, 2 rookies, and Zach Bond, and for all of them to begin the accolades and the love they should have been getting all season long goes to show. You know, the second time we played Washington, it was Quinyon gave up his first touchdown. You know, all year I come on here week on and week out and say he hasn't given up a touchdown A, B, C, and D. And Toddy said, well, I don't know, Kevin. Quinyon's hurt. Is he going to be Quinyon? And, you know, Scary Terry, a lot of people don't get to go to Guantanamo Bay 3 times in 1 year, but you got a special pass. There's a special place in Guantanamo Bay for you. He ran 48 routes against Quinyon. Oh, no, he ran 48 routes in general, and 36 were on Quinyon. 1 catch, 7 yards, 4 targets, and an interception. Terry McLaurin, the second game, blew up. The first game, we had him in a box, and he really couldn't do anything, and the offense was stagnant. This game, we got to see basically the same thing. And the only thing that didn't look like the same game in Washington was, instead of it being Brian Robinson Jr. who fumbled, it's Austin Eckler. This special teams unit, man, I told Alyssa, I don't know if you guys watched the very first kickoff when Luke McCaffrey bumbled it in the end zone. I said, they're not ready.
Oh yeah, ready. Like on the
he was ready to run it, and he fumbled it. I said, Alyssa, it's about to get fucking ugly. They're hesitant, and all I heard from the guy under me, for the audio only listeners, that is Jaevon Toddy, was, Kevin, that's not the same Jaden. That was how many weeks ago? Look at what he's done in the playoffs. And I said, Toddy, you got to stop letting these one-offs make you feel some kind of way. You know, the Rams beat the Vikings and, oh, shit, the Rams are going to go into Philly and they're going to do this. Oh, my God, LeBron James meme. Look what they did to the Vikings. And then a week later, the Commanders destroy a freshman-level defense. You know, 6 stringers. We got practice squad guys. When you got your 4th-string guy, Terry Luke, going out for the game, the very first play of the game, it kind of just embodies the Lions season. And they went out there and they lit them up. And you know what? Were the Lions not prepared? You can say whatever you want. You have to give the Commanders the respect for going in there and getting that thing done. But I have to tell everybody, we're not the Detroit Lions. You know, we're very much healthy. And for them to miss their center and for that guy to have to look up every time and see Jordan Davis. I mean, Jordan Davis, you got Jalen Carter. Like, we're seeing these guys really flourish. These Georgia guys are coming in, playing and play out. We even saw a Jordan Davis sack. I couldn't tell you last time he got a sack. He's in there to stop the run, and now he's attacking the quarterback. All week we heard, well, Kevin, Jalen Hurts hasn't been throwing the ball. He hasn't been doing this. And it's funny because I tell everybody the reason that's a funny stat is because he missed 2 games. So he goes 2 games with zeros and then comes out and throws for less than 150 2 games. So he said after the game that they let him out of the straitjacket. They let him sling it. And the Washington Commanders DC said if they were going to have Jalen Hurts run like a running back, we're going to hit him like a running back. And now he's cleaning out his locker. So that's just an example of, you don't really talk too much before you see something like that, especially with a divisional opponent that you've seen. This will now be going on your 3rd time. But that's enough about, Jalen Hurts and who he's better than and who he's not better than and how he just keeps beating all these top 4 guys. And that's another conversation for another day. But Saquon Barkley, God bless you. God bless you. If you guys could have saw me that first Washington drive, 3rd down after 3rd down, 4th down after 4th down, and then they ease up on my soul and kick a field goal. I said, Alyssa, we have to punch him in the mouth. We have to. After what we just saw, we got to go down there and do something. And Saquon goes to the left, untouched, breaks 3 tackles and takes it to the crib. Toddy gets my snaps after a touchdown and I take a shot. I was screaming to the good lords. It's kind of what's up, John?
So you're active on Snapchat, but you won't text us back?
No, I'm not active. It's just after I celebrate my touchdowns with a shot. All
right, well, you're going to have to add me on Snap so I can see them all throughout the Super Bowl.
Hey, Toddy loves them. Toddy loves them. Toddy always replays them. I always get a notification that Toddy replayed my video. But I don't want to go too much on this, but A.J. Brown completely made Lattimore look like a dog. He was just out there walking his dog. And there is a comment on the Marshawn Lattimore video that I wanted to bring to the group.
Oh.
And it's from Jaevon Toddy. It says, Marshawn Lattimore is the Eagles' boogeyman. And I told Toddy, Kaz was there. Shaun, you were not here. I said, is he bringing a time machine? Because this Marshawn Lattimore, all he does is hold and grab. And for some reason, they loaded that box and put that man on an island. And every time, I told Alyssa, just throw the ball. Just give him a chance. And A.J. Brown embarrassed him. So I know everyone was like, oh, Kevin, well, now it's Marshawn Lattimore, and he's healthy, and he got a couple games under him, and it's the same thing, PI after PI, and just giving it up. So I'm really happy to see what the Eagles are doing. We're able to not only run the ball, but we're able to throw the ball very well as well. And going into a Super Bowl, like I've been telling Toddy all day, I feel amazing. I don't feel like anybody in the world can stop what we got going. So I know that's a little bit of a preview for next week's episode, but the vibes are high. The vibes are high.
Yeah, Kevin, I feel like there's a range of memes that could describe exactly what you just said. And we'll start it out with Toddy's favorite, Drewski with the hands up. I thought Marshawn Lattimore was going to lock him up. I guess not. And then when it comes to the old take from Toddy, I just as much as him am a believer in Marshawn Lattimore. And Kevin, I know you have a special spot in your heart for Marshawn Lattimore because of where he went to school, the Ohio State University. But given the take that you just described before we hear from Kaz, I got a couple other memes that I just want to throw up on the screen, some oldie but goodies that we've had here through 133 episodes of Stats Over Politics. Boo this man. Boo. And also, finally, the all-time classic. Toddy, we got a little.
I was waiting for
it. Just a couple tissues for you from AJ. And so, Kaz, all of that said, before we hear from Jaevon about yesterday's game, just how did you feel as you were watching the Eagles absolutely eviscerate the Commanders?
So I made a Snapchat after the game, and I also put it on my Twitter as well. And it's just me and my boys sitting there, and I was just like, people, and also put on my Instagram. I posted a video before the game started of Saquon, pounding his head, during the divisional game after going off for a 60-yard run, and I'm like, these guys are not ready for these psychopaths. That's what it was titled. And then after the game, it was just like, what did you guys expect? Like, I don't say things to feel good and hope. I say things because I believe. All season long, you guys have heard me talk about how I'm very harsh on Jalen Hurts. I meant what I meant. I said what I said, and he has proven me wrong. Me and Kevin even had private conversations about Jalen Hurts, about our thoughts about how good really is he, and who he can compare him to and whatnot. And I'm not. That's not going to change when it comes to wide receiver ones and a QB one. Those are two positions I don't have any patience for. You deliver, and that's it. You deliver, and the stats should show. But seeing how Jalen panned out, I knew what it was going into this game because of the way the Washington fan base was acting. They were scared. How did I know they were scared? Because they was talking crazy. We're about to take over the league. You know you're not. You saw what happened in previous years and then some. You're not taking over the league. Why are you saying that? Whether it was photoshopped or not, I can't remember if it was proven, but they said they did it. They decorated a Rocky statue. Okay, you guys are scared. Then they're posting all these TikTokers and content creators posting these Jaden Daniels, like clips of Eagles fans saying we're gonna crush Jaden Daniels, and all of a sudden it just flips to some NBA young boy music and Jaden Daniels highlights. I'm like, you guys are scared. You're scared. How do I know this? Because I've been here before, and I'm gonna act like it. And so going into this game, I've been saying since last week, and I meant this. Again, the easiest route to the Super Bowl in my entire existence. I've never seen an easier route. Not that I don't respect all of our opponents, because any given Sunday, do you know how hard it would be being a 6 seed, a potential 7 seed, only got the 7 seed, barely got the 6 seed, sorry. Barely got it, mind you. It could have been Green Bay. They barely got it, okay? So in my eyes, I'm like, this is a 7 seed caliber team going against the best roster in football, who just got gifted a home game. You upset the Detroit Lions, and you think you're going to upset the 2 seeds. You're going to take out the 1 seed and the 2 seed and go and win the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, history shows that when an upset like that happens, that's usually where the season ends. So kudos to them for disturbing the peace and taking down the Detroit Lions. I knew off the jump, and I had been bold, 10 toes down, chest puffed out ever since that clock hit 0 against that Commanders versus the Lions. I'm like, we're going to the Super Bowl. I'm like, this ain't going to be close. Ain't going to be close. But Jaden Daniels, but what? We're looking back at the second game we had against the first game, we handled no problem. But remember, his ribs. It was his ribs. He wasn't 100%. Second game, Kenny Pickett. Everybody wants to just play around and act like that's not a thing. Oh, well, look what he did here. So-and-so touchdowns in the fourth quarter, da-da-da-da. No Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in that game. You also didn't have, again, Jalen Hurts. Kenny Pickett was one drop pass away from actually winning that game. But nobody wants to talk about that, and that's how you know how good your team actually is when people start moving the goalpost that crazy. You're moving it every which way to make it to look like Jaden Daniels is who he's not. I'll give the boys some credit. Good season, kid. This is bigger than that. The lights were too bright for you before you even show up to the stadium. This isn't LSU. This is much bigger than that. And respect to him. I like that he did what he did against Detroit, and that's fine. These things happen. It's going to happen next year, and the next year. Upsets they're a thing. They're going to happen. A 6 seed is going to take down, a 1 seed or a whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen. Not often, but it's going to happen. When that happened, I have never been more sure on a Super Bowl appearance again in my life. Now, we can talk about the game. Not really much to say about the game. We absolutely dominated them. We did exactly what we were supposed to do and then some, because Jalen Hurts also went off. Jalen Hurts was perfect. He was perfect. The entire game, I mean, even the 4th and 5 like 30-yard pass to AJ Brown was a dot. Was a fucking dot. To where it's like, how did you deny that? They sent the rush. He saw it, aired it out to AJ, right in the breadbasket. Perfect. Went on to score. Saquon Barkley, obviously, first 2 carries were 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. If you looked at that game after even just the first Saquon carry for a touchdown and thought to yourself, whether you're a Commanders fan, Eagles fan, the Mud Dogs fan, all right, if you're a fan of the Water Boy, and thought to yourself that this is going to end well for the Commanders, you're crazy. But I understand that this is football and people have to have these hot takes, and that's okay. I respect it. But I don't know what you guys have been seeing in Jaden Daniels that told you that this guy was going to give the Eagles run for their money. And this is no hate. What did you guys see? What did you guys see as fans, or maybe even haters of him if he has any haters? I don't think he has any haters because he's a cool kid, right? I mean, he ain't done nothing wrong to nobody. We can all respect that. What did you see? oh, well, rookie of the year, that's fine. Okay. And CJ Stroud was the same caliber of quarterback last year as well. And how'd that end for him? And before that, you had guys like Justin Herbert, rookie of the year. You got plenty of guys who've had these accolades. And what have you seen when they got to the playoffs? So why all of a sudden is everybody putting their biggest bag on the Commanders to even compete against the Eagles when we have the best roster in football and it's not even close? It's not even close. The closest roster in football to us was the Detroit Lions. And that's because their offense is high-powered. Collectively, it is the Eagles, and then I don't know who the hell else. Maybe the Ravens. So I'm not trying to be cocky, and I even said that in my Snapchat / video that I shared on Twitter. I'm like, this is not no cocky shit. I had been chilling this entire game. I was chilling the second I got there. I was chilling. Trolling some Commanders fans, talking shit to them and whatnot because, there was deeper than we were. There's only 2 Eagles fans in the bar. No, 3, sorry. Some old guy and me, my boy. We walked in and we saw 5 Commanders fans. I'm like, I ain't never seen this in my life. I ain't never seen this.
So this is going to be a long day.
Hey, I came in, I said, y'all in the wrong place. I go, you think you're outnumbered, but really you're actually tremendously outnumbered. I go, because me alone, not including my guy, I'm like 50 Eagles fans. So therefore, you got to understand what you signing up for. They giggled and laughed. And I sat there next to their table the whole time standing with beer in hand, standing the entire time. Just saying over and over again for 4 quarters, who the fuck is Jaden Daniels? And they sat there on their phones and they was calling the bartender over, ordering pictures of water. They ordered pictures of water. I'm like, I'm petty. Let me get a picture of beer. Let me do what a man does. You know what I mean?
Modelo with lime.
Say a couple lines, right? But no, it was just a game that, as much as I want to dive super deep into it, just pure dominance. I mean, the Eagles are just a much better team. You have a 2 seed that was knocking on the door and being a 1 seed all the way up until the very end. So let's just call it what it is. Eagles are obviously a 1 seed caliber team for sure, going against a 6/7 seed. What do we expect? Any other year, we're going to say the Eagles would crush them. But Jaden Daniels, he had a really good year for rookie. And guess what? After him, another rookie's going to do the same thing. And after him, another rookie's going to do the same thing. There's got to be a good rookie quarterback at some point coming through the league. And it happens every year. It was Jaden Daniels. But outside of that, Washington had one of the worst defenses in the NFL entirely. I think they had the worst run defense in the NFL. And they're going against Saquon Barkley. What did you guys expect? And that's kind of where I've been lost. It's like, get real. Not one person that was a Commanders content creator or Commanders fan on Twitter or any of these apps out there was saying, I just hope that we give the Eagles a run for the money. They're saying, nope, we're gonna beat them. And I'm like, okay. Let me go ahead and sit back, relax, and enjoy my popcorn. So just an expected win. And I'm just surprised that it came down to us playing a team just that's significantly much lesser than us to go to the Super Bowl. Like I said in the beginning, easiest route to the Super Bowl yet. The second they beat Detroit. I said we have to be LA. We have to be LA. I believe we played LA first, and they played.
So, yeah, because they played on Saturday. Didn't they play on Saturday night? And then you guys were on Sunday.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
yep.
Yeah, and Kaz, just to add on to your point, because there had only been 5 rookie quarterbacks that have ever made a conference championship game. This isn't Shaun's pop quiz, but just starting things out, 1999, the first to do it, Shaun King. And I think that's pretty cool because he actually spells his name like me, Shaun. But then there was also Ben Roethlisberger in 2004, Joe Flacco 2008, Mark Sanchez in 2009, Brock Purdy in 2022. But what's so significant about Jaden Daniels being the 5th rookie quarterback to do so, and to follow up on Kaz's point, is you look at all of the other quarterbacks and where their defense is ranked entering that conference championship game. Brock Purdy and Ben Roethlisberger, both of their defenses were ranked number 1 in the NFL. You look at Mark Sanchez, Joe Flacco, Shaun King, all 3 of their defenses were ranked 3rd in the NFL. You look at Jaden Daniels, his defense was ranked 18th in the NFL this season, and he willed his team to a conference championship game. That's another thing that Tyson should be proud about with his team and about the future of his team with Jaden Daniels as the quarterback. Because even looking at this postseason, obviously yesterday, both home teams won their matchups. But going into conference championship weekend, you look at the road teams in these playoffs. The Commanders were 2-0. Everyone else 0-8. And so the Commanders have been the only team to win on the road in these playoffs, which is just crazy to think about. And finally, Toddy, before I pass it to you, this is one stat that I think all of us will get a kick out of and smile about, except for maybe one of our most loyal fans, Uncle Manny, because this is from Jeff Kerr of CBS. He says, the Eagles rushed for more touchdowns in the NFC Championship game. 7. The Eagles had 7 rushing touchdowns yesterday, which is more than the Cowboys had all season long. The Cowboys had 6 rushing touchdowns all season long. The Eagles had 7 yesterday. And so just kind of hits the nail on the head of how dominant this Eagles rushing game has been since the Giants gave up on Saquon Barkley and the Eagles capitalized. And so, Toddy, all of that said, I know we've covered the game pretty well to this point, but aside from myself and the politicking that I did, you were smart enough to pick the Eagles. And so just what was your unbiased take and perspective from this game? The mute god got you, so I'm going to help you out, and you got to unmute yourself because it won't let me.
Basically, what I was saying was Kevin and I talk a lot off air. Well, Kevin calls me and basically talks shit to me about how good his team is. Nobody can stop us, and this, that, and the third. Who's going to guard this person? Who's going to guard this person? And he has a very valid point. That was kind of what my thinking was going into the game. Yes, Jayden Daniels is a guy who has been literally played out of this world the entire playoffs. And yes, Kaz, CJ Stroud did something similar, but Jayden Daniels got to the AFC or the NFC Championship game. I don't think any people weren't even picking them to go to the playoffs. Not this guy. But I mean, if you kind of just look at how their team is constructed, this team was supposed to win like 8 games. It's Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. Like, we didn't know who DME Brown was. We didn't know who Zacchaeus was. Luke McCaffrey. I mean, some guys might know just based off the last name, but I mean, he's pulling together a bunch of misfits. And they got all the way to the NFC Championship game. And I kind of say this now, like the Commanders were playing virtually with house money the entire playoffs, because it's like they're not even supposed to be here. They literally they got all new coaches, new ownership, new quarterback. Like everything's brand new, fresh. Like the first year of like this, they're supposed to be technically rebuilding still. And Jayden willed this team to the NFC Championship game. Now, as far as the team that they were playing against, they forced at least 3 turnovers a game. And that's going back to towards the end of last year. So you're trying to play against a team on the road, very hostile environment, and not turn the ball over when they averaged literally 3 turnovers a game. It's going to be very, very tough to win. Saquon Barkley, as soon as he touches the ball, 60-yard touchdown. I saw his overs for the longest run like of the day would be like 30 yards. Yeah, he cleared that by another 30 yards. It was a 60-yard, yeah. First play of the game. So I was like, when I saw that happen, I was like, okay, this could go one or two ways. Jayden's got to respond, or it's going to be a shit kicking. And I think the Commanders got the ball back, went like 3 and out. And it was just like they got the ball back, scored. I think they went down and scored, if I'm mistaken. They tried to like go for 2, didn't get it. Eagles scored again. And then the Commanders fumbled on the kickoff. That didn't help. And kind of just put them behind the 8 ball again. So they were playing catch up for the majority of the game. It got really Jayden looked like a rookie. I mean, there's really nothing else to really kind of put to it. He looked like a rookie. The Eagles, Vic Fangio's been doing a hell of a job with that defense. I mean, hell, they got 2 good corners. They got their D line is on point. They got a good middle linebacker in Bond.
The best middle linebacker.
He's pretty good. I'm not saying the best, but it's very good. He's been playing out of his ass the entire year. This team, man, they're very good. Like rare at almost every position. If you look at D-line, corner, safety, running back, receiver, tight end, quarterback, like they're stacked. They got guys everywhere. So I know we're not really supposed to talk about it, but it's like you're kind of comparing apples to oranges on who they're going up against next week. And there's not really that many other boxes that the other team checks. I mean, I can think of one off the top of my head, that's quarterback, but what about everything else? I mean, the Eagles just never stopped. They just continued on and on and on and on, pretty much the rest of the game. And it was a party. You got to see guys like Will Shipley get in the game. You got Kenny Pickett was out there, and Will Shipley had a big scamper. Maybe that's foreshadowing what you'll see next year, in a couple of years. Maybe he'll be the backup running back. We'll see. But you can't really. There's not really much to say. I mean, the Commanders were playing with house money the entire playoffs. No one expected them to even get this far. The Eagles kind of coming off of I wouldn't say a down year. They're coming off a disappointing year. For them to kind of, go all in and get Saquon Barkley off the Eagles fans definitely need to send Joe Shane a thank you card. Hey man, we appreciate you.
I love you.
We appreciate you what you did for us. Here's a bottle of champagne, all that. I don't know if you guys saw this. There was it resurfaced on Twitter when his son Joe Shane, the GM's son, was like, "Who should we draft?" He said Jaden Daniels. Kid might have been up to something there. I'm just saying. He might have been up to something there. But yeah, I think all Eagles fans need to send Joe Shane a thank you card, a Buffalo Wild Wings gift card, whatever it's something. Send him something. We appreciate you, big dog. We appreciate what you did for us. And Saquon has not looked back. I even saw Slay. He was on Richard Sherman's podcast, and he was talking about what he was seeing from him in training camp. He was like, "Oh yeah," he did like a little move. Like,
oh yeah,
he's like, "Oh yeah, he gonna be something." And I think it just the situation that he was in was so dog shit. Like it was so bad. I think his best year was when his rookie year was when they went to the playoffs and they had Odell and they did like the
boat, the yacht photo.
The yacht boat. That was like the only time I really got to see him like that. But Odell played like shit in that game, had a bunch of drops. And
yeah, the Giants have not been the same since that yacht photo was taken.
Yeah, that was like the only time we really got to see Saquon in the playoffs and like on a solid team. But he's playing on this team. He's got a shot to rush for 2,000 yards almost every year. So, I mean, got to give credit where credit is due. Hats off to the Eagles, man.
Saquon ran for 442 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns this season against the Commanders.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Played him 3 times.
Yeah, that's in 3 games. That's like
Still
100 and that's like 140 yards a game, damn near 135 yards.
It's a lot.
1.5 touchdowns per game, basically. Yeah, that is a lot. And
Eagles rush defense for the Commanders, not that good.
Especially what they're paying out.
Yeah, exactly. And as Chicken said in the YouTube comments, sarcastically, I might add, there was an Eagles game Sunday against Washington, ? I thought that was just practice for our Super Bowl game. And then he goes on to say, after I was talking about Zach Ertz, you're right, Ertz cooked, all the Eagles players showed up. Even the ex-members showed up. And also Cousin James has made his appearance in the YouTube comments in a congratulatory way, as he says, "Congratulations, Kevin and Kaz. Honestly, would rather see Saquon win one than a Chiefs three-peat. Y'all got my pick." Well, James is a better man than me because James started rooting for it.
Hey man, the Avengers beat Thanos the second time.
Crazy,
Don't forget that.
Shaun, you're not doing it for a 3rd week, are you?
Of course he is.
So we're gonna dive into the upcoming Super Bowl in depth next week, but I'll just tease, as I already just did, that I'm just sending my condolences right now, because Toddy and I went through this last year. We went through this exact same thing last year. We're getting our rematch in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. They're gonna beat them. And then they somehow don't. Whether if it's the referees, whether if it's the 49ers not knowing the overtime rules. Like, we have experienced this, and I'm just sorry that you guys have to experience it too, because it would have been better for you guys if you were playing the Bills in the Super Bowl. Instead, you're going up against the boogeyman. And I know that Kaz and Kevin, you strongly disagree with me, and we can save all of these debates for next week. And I'm kind of opening a can of worms here, but I instantly, and I'm not even bullshitting you, I'm not even trying to be a hater, but I instantly just felt bad for you guys when the Chiefs won last night, because Toddy and I experienced this last year. We went through this whole song and dance already, getting a rematch against them. All right, I guess we'll have to wait and see, and I'll eat my words in 2 weeks if I'm wrong. But after experiencing this last year and being so confident as you guys are right now, we had our star running back. We had the best running back in the NFL last year, and they still lost. And Kaz, I see that smile. I hope that I'm wrong. For the sake of both of your fandoms, I hope that I'm wrong, because as much as we joke and I become a hater on the podcast and I play into it like a WWE character, like when it comes to just like the genuineness of how I feel about both of you guys, I want you guys to be happy, genuinely. I just don't think it's going to happen. And we'll leave it there. We'll get to who they are playing, because, again, we got Kelsey Bowl Part 2. It's a shame that Jason retired 1 year too early. But the Chiefs beat the Bills last night in the AFC Championship game, 32-29. And the Bills actually had their own destiny in their hands. And then they were unable to get a first down conversion. People want to say, oh, tennis has this in-depth technology to where you can see the line in tennis and see if the ball touched any part of the line. Why can't the NFL have this? It goes back to years and years ago when the Raiders and the Cowboys played on Monday Night Football and they used that cue card to measure the difference between the ball and the marker. And we didn't use a cue card last night, but it's still very ambiguous, where it's being left up to referees and to a human to decide when we have all this technology to figure this stuff out. Regardless, the Chiefs get it done again. They're moving on to another Super Bowl. The Chiefs are the first team to win back-to-back Super Bowls and actually advance back to the Super Bowl and have a chance at a three-peat. But as we saw years ago, the Chiefs had a chance to repeat against the Buccaneers, and they lost by a lot. And so they could end up losing by a lot, just like the Commanders did. But regardless, the Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl for their third time in a row, third season in a row. And so, Toddy, I'm going to toss it to you first on this one. Just what is left to be said about the Chiefs?
They just pure grit. They always figure out ways how to win these games. I don't think it's a coincidence that they're undefeated in like one-score games. I think they do, like, luck comes on their side, I'd say, a lot more than normal when it comes to getting calls, timely calls, that is. That first down or that fourth down play was huge. It was game-changing. You could argue, I mean, if you kind of watch it, looks like Josh Allen gets the first down there. I don't know how that call got reversed. But the Chiefs had it. They went down, scored, because they were on their side of the field at that point in time. The Bills did end up tying the game. Or no, yeah, they did. No, the Bills did end up tying the game after the Chiefs went up 7. Chiefs come down and score again, as Blue was like, yeah, that was a bullshit call. The Bills go down, tie it, and then the Chiefs kind of, they end up putting 3 points on the board. And you're kind of just looking at when Josh Allen gets the ball, fourth down, what does Spagnuolo draw up? An exotic blitz. Where have I seen the same exotic blitz? Oh, I don't know. The Super Bowl in last year. He's known for these little late game situation blitz plays that he'll draw up to kind of create pressure for the other opposing quarterback to kind of make him make a very, very quick decision. And that pass they threw up to Kincaid at the end, like literally it goes through Kincaid's hands. If you watch the replay, like Kincaid had a chance to catch the ball, which was insane. But I mean, it just seemed like when the game first started, like Mahomes came out, bing, bang, boom, touchdown, 7-0. And then Josh kind of looked a little bit shaky, like early on in the game. And I don't know. It kind of took him a little bit to warm up. We saw an insane catch from Mac Hollins. He was balling this whole entire game. I thought James Cook was playing really well in this game, but they kind of shied away from him towards the end of the game, which was a little bit concerning because I think he had like 136 yards. I don't know if it was total yards or rushing yards, but I thought James Cook they were getting him involved throughout the game, and he was being very effective. Didn't really see him too much down the stretch, but I mean, the Bills come up short again. Are we going to have to start having the conversation? Do they need to find a new head coach and Sean McDermott? I'm not sure. I mean, they got to the AFC Championship game, so they're getting success. It's literally Mahomes. Like, that's just the common denominator from all of these quarterbacks. The last time Mahomes lost, I think it was against Joe. The only two quarterbacks that beat Mahomes, Joe Burrow and the other guys calling games now. I think, or I saw a stat whenever he's like a favorite. Yeah, so it's Joe Burrow and Tom Brady, and that game was at home too. They were Brady and them were on the road in that game. So, and so were the Bengals. So, I mean, it's very tough to beat him in the playoffs. He doesn't lose much. Like I said, he's lost 3 times. I think he's been a starter for 7 seasons, and he's been to the Super Bowl, 5 times? It's pretty insane at this rate. He's not even 30 yet. So it's like, I don't really know what to do. I thought Xavier Worthy was huge in this game for the Chiefs. They kind of took away Travis Kelce. So it was like Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith, Noah Gray. We saw Kareem Hunt had a really good game, and a couple down the stretch catches from DeAndre Hopkins, not too much, but I thought Xavier Worthy was the best receiver for the Chiefs in this game. So they got a test ahead of them. This is gonna be a really good game, in my opinion. And the line came out yesterday. The Chiefs are favored by 1.5. Posted a stat in the group chat, the Stats for Politics group chat. Whenever Mahomes when he's under a touchdown favorite, 7-0 gets the spread. I know that means nothing to Kevin, and that means absolutely nothing to Kaz. But I mean, Mahomes is going to figure out, and me and Kevin were talking earlier again. He was talking about how the Chiefs, it's going to be tough for them to score. They haven't scored 30 points, that as Shaun shows the graphic for the audio only listeners on the cell phone, 7-0 against the spread. The Chiefs only scored over 30 points twice this year, and Kevin's confident in his defense that it's going to be tough for them to score 30 points this year. So, as Shaun shows another meme, it's from, I don't know if you guys have seen Jerry Maguire. It's the Cuba Gooding Jr., show me the money. So, I'm excited for this game because obviously it's a rematch. A lot of things are different since both teams have played each other in those 3 years ago. Obviously, I think the glaring thing is there was no Saquon Barkley on the Eagles. So we'll be able to get into that next week. But I'm excited for this matchup, and this was one of the best games of the year, I would like to say. The Bills just come up short again, dude. What does Josh Allen have to do? Like, what more does he need to do? I mean, I don't know. Not be in the AFC, maybe.
All right, Kevin. Well, the Chiefs beat the Bills once again. And unfortunately for Josh Allen, he just keeps running into the brick wall that is Patrick Mahomes, very similarly to what Peyton Manning used to run into with Tom Brady, except Peyton did get him once. And so ultimately, or actually twice, because he got him in Denver and in Indianapolis. But that was 2 out of 10, 15 times in the playoffs, and probably about 10. Anyways, nevertheless, Chiefs get back to the Super Bowl. This is ultimately going to be your team's upcoming opponent. But when it comes to last night's game, just what did you think of it overall?
You know, there's people say this is a rivalry, but it can't be a rivalry if one side never wins. This is now the 4th time Josh Allen's lost to Patrick Mahomes. And there's some interesting stats. Teams that have scored 3 touchdowns and 0 turnovers in the playoffs are 140-9. In the playoffs, the Bills have 3 of those losses of the 9. Another stat. Bills scored 4 touchdowns and had 0 turnovers. In the playoffs, in history, they are 59-3. The Bills have 2 of those 3 losses. What else do the Bills need to do? You know, Toddy mentioned it. They went all in on defense. They had all the guys. They had the Jordan Poyers. They had everybody. They went all in. And then they got Josh Allen a number 1 receiver. And then the next year, a couple years down the line, they keep getting to a point or a peak, and they just can't get over the hump. So what do they decide to do this year? Not only do they trade their first-round pick that became Xavier Worthy, who tore them up in the AFC Championship game that now plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, they got rid of Stephon Diggs. They let the defense go, the Tre'Davious Whites of the world. They let them walk, the Jordan Poyers, like I mentioned. And they wanted to be more efficient. They wanted to spread the wealth. And they led the NFL in takeaways this year. And if you compare this to the teams with Stephon Diggs had a way more efficient season, they're able to let Josh Allen be Josh Allen, and he doesn't have someone that's so target hungry. But when you lose a guy like Stephon Diggs, your best receiver is a guy like Matt Collins. You know, you trade for Amari Cooper hoping that he has something left in the tank. Keon Coleman was a guy who everyone thought was going to be a first-round talent who has kind of had an elevator season. Like some games he's really high and some games he's really low. Khalil Shakir is probably the best receiver in that room. So there's a lot of things that they're struggling with. And, you know, there are teams out there, people will say, Packers fans, that you don't need a number 1 receiver to be really good. But the Bills don't have a Christian Watson. They don't have a Jaden Reed. So
why
I
taking
get
shots
it.
at the Packers, Kev?
I'm not. I'm just saying that's a team that can win games without a number 1 wide receiver. So it's doable, but it's far and in between. So the Bills, I don't know where they go from here. I don't know if they can get up from this and keep swinging. You know, maybe Josh Allen is going to be Charles Barkley and never win a ring because of Mike. You know, maybe that's just the way it all plays out. And I heard a stat, or not heard a stat. I heard something that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson every year swing at each other's necks for second place.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for for the 2 of them, but that's just life living in the AFC. And that's something that we as 49ers and Eagles fans don't have to worry about every year until you get to that final step. And you just hope that someone like a Joe Burrow knocks them out. And that's why, like, when I look back at all the 49ers missed opportunities over the years, I look back to that 2021 season and I just look at it with so much pain, because if Jaquiski Tartt hauled in that interception, the 49ers ultimately win that NFC Championship game. And I know I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago how that game angered me the most, but ultimately I was happy that now that my friend Eric passed away and he was a Rams fan, that I'm glad he got to watch his team win a Super Bowl. But selfishly, as a 49ers fan, I still look back at that game and I'm like, that was the year that the 49ers really could have and should have won the Super Bowl, but they missed out on their opportunity. And the 1 year that Mahomes got taken out before the Super Bowl, they missed their opportunity and they just literally let it slip through their hands. And so, yeah, I'm thankful that the 49ers aren't in the AFC. That's for sure. But Kaz, if you could wrap us up when it comes to this AFC Championship game, just what were your thoughts on the Chiefs once again moving on to the Super Bowl and defeating the Bills 32-29?
It sucks. When it comes to Chiefs games, especially in the AFC Championship games, I already know what the narrative's going to be. They're cheating. They're cheating. It's all over social media and whatnot. And last night, I kind of got fed up with it. I was like, guys, the Bills had opportunities. They didn't capitalize. Okay, it's football. Some calls will go one way, some calls will go the other way. Like, it's not so blatant as you guys are making it seem. You're just mad. Josh Allen got cold feet. When it's all said and done. Now, mind you, I'm not saying Josh Allen's a bad quarterback. He doesn't have the supporting cast that a lot of other teams do, but I've been saying this all season long, and you guys have been here every step of the way. Who have the Chiefs been all season long besides a team that wins? Pat has struggled every game, every week to get these wins, and I've been saying since the beginning, good teams find ways. That championship caliber teams find ways to win, and that's how you go far. It's not about starting off like, say how the Commanders were for a little while. They were putting up 30, 40 points on teams and whatnot, and having these massive blowouts like Detroit was happening. I'm like, that stuff's nice and all, but that stuff ain't gonna matter in the playoffs. Like, it's just not. You look at the Bills. The Bills had a really great season, but nobody wants to talk about how cupcake their schedule was. They beat a lot of teams that were under 500 this season. A lot. Their whole division was trash. Literally, their entire division was trash. They're already right there, 6 games. And I'm pretty sure they swept their division. I don't think they lost a single game. I'm pretty sure they swept. So.
Well, they lost to the Patriots, but we don't really count that.
Okay, yeah. Well, either way, that's the only one for sure then. So it's like, all season long, I'm just looking at Josh Allen. I'm like, dude, I like you, man. You're a footballer. And what I mean by that is you're a guy who loves the game of football and you know how to play football. But I don't look at you and go, this guy's going to go win a Super Bowl. I don't. I never have. I never probably will. Why? Because that's all they have is Josh Allen. And when it's time for him to show up and have a tremendous game to win, if it's against a formidable opponent, he just usually doesn't deliver. He needs a supporting cast, and they're just not going to build a team around him like that. It's been how many years now? They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to go all in and get him a true stud guy. They did with Stephon Diggs, and they let him go quickly. Why? Oh, because he's a locker room cancer. You have to bite the bullet with these things. That'd be like if Saquon Barkley, or what? Not Saquon. I think he's on his own planet, but that'd be like if AJ Brown truly was, which he's not. It's propaganda. If he truly was a locker room cancer, it doesn't matter. That's AJ fucking Brown. You make it work. That's Stephon fucking Diggs. You make it work. You make it work. Well, Josh plays. Look, he went off to Houston and didn't do as well as everyone thought he was going to. Josh is actually playing lights out without Stephon Diggs. Again, cupcake schedule. You guys are ignoring the actual proof that exists right there when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen's nice, but he's not a quarter. Lamar should have been there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he should have been there, bro. It took Mark Andrews dropping a ball for them to not go to overtime to win that game. And if you think about it, and I get it, it's a hypothetical. Yeah, well, he dropped it, and it's part of football, and they lost. Okay. But, like, dude, when it comes down to it, it's all about a team that has the best opportunity to win the damn thing. There's nothing that the Bills have done all season long that was who was saying that the Bills could beat the Lions? Who was saying the Bills could beat the Eagles? Who was saying the Bills could beat the Chiefs? Like, nobody was saying that when the playoffs were to come around. Hell, people probably thought the Bills wouldn't beat the Ravens. So, I mean, even though they did end up beating the Ravens and they went toe-to-toe with the Chiefs, and unfortunately Dalton Kincaid couldn't haul on that ball. That was a really good throwing ball. Somehow, some way got to him the way it did. At the end of the day, let's not pretend like the Chiefs should not have won this game. And that's kind of where this game has been very distasteful for me, is that right there, is reading just the bitter fans. Everybody hates the fucking Chiefs because everybody hates teams that win. That's just the way it is in every sport. Okay, that's why Jordan was hated. That's why Kobe was hated. That's why LeBron's hated. Let's just call it what it is. Okay, football, that's why Tom Brady was hated. I got to hate on a man who gets 7 goddamn rings. I'm an Eagles fan, and they cheated the first Super Bowl appearance that we met him. And I don't hate on Tom Brady because we got our get back. People want to pretend like the Chiefs are just not who they are. They have arguably the best quarterback of all time. They have probably the second best head coach of all time, and probably arguably the best head coach of all time, because who's to say that Belichick wasn't a product of Tom Brady? That's neither here nor there, but you know what I'm saying? Let's just call it what it is. They have a really good defense. They're well coached, and we expect Sean McDermott in the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen Buffalo Bills, to go into Arrowhead, where Mahomes never fucking loses in the playoffs. And this is going to be any different. It just didn't sit right with me the entire time. So, like, I respect the Bills. I like Josh Allen, again, the football player. But, dude, this fucking, just run the – you know what? Josh Allen is who everybody acts like Jalen Hurts is. He can't do anything but run the ball. Josh Allen runs the ball very, very well. And guess what? He comes up very, very short when he has to run the ball very, very well. How do you beat the Chiefs? You put them away. Did the Bills have the offense to do that? Absolutely not. Did they have the offense to do that before the game even started? Absolutely not. It just wasn't meant. It wasn't. The cards weren't dealt for the Bills to win this game. It just wasn't. And I understand. It ain't like Mahomes went out there and did a bunch of shit. They make the plays when it matters the most. They deliver. Teams, players, coaches sometimes they shit the bed when the lights are bright. It happens every week, from week 1 all the way up until the championship games. Somebody ends up shitting the bed. In this case, like I said, we'll say it's Kincaid, but they had opportunities that entire game, and they didn't capitalize. You cannot be a championship caliber team without capitalizing when it matters the most. It's that simple.
Yeah, and just to add on to your point, Kaz, I said this a couple times this past week, just to other people, and so I'll bring it to the podcast. When it comes to the Chiefs, like, I want to be a fan of Patrick Mahomes, like, just out of respect for him as a player. I want to be a fan of Travis Kelce, but just given how much hurt they brought to me as a 49ers fan and how much pain they have caused, I can't help but hate them.
Fuck them.
Like, I hate them just like I used to hate Kobe, where it's like, I respect you, but I hate you. And I hated Kobe. And rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Yesterday was the 5-year anniversary of him and the 8 others passing in that helicopter crash on January 26, 2020. Never forget where I was when I found out about that. But like, I hated Kobe so much as a Kings fan because he just constantly would destroy the Kings every single time, 4 times a year. And he just brought so much pain to my life. And thankfully he didn't do it in the playoffs, or, I mean, he did, but I was so young that I didn't watch it at that time. And that's how I feel about Patrick Mahomes. That's how I feel about Travis Kelce. Is I like them as players. I think that they're great athletes and players, and even seem like good individuals off the field. But they've just brought so much pain into my life that I can't feel anything but hate for them, because they've just caused me so much pain. I used to feel some type of way about the Ravens, and as a franchise, I'm still not fond of the Ravens. Joe Flacco, still don't like him. But when it comes to the Chiefs, it's just like seeing them beat my team twice in the Super Bowl in a 5-year span. I have no choice but to hate them. I respect greatness, but I hate the Kansas City Chiefs. And this upcoming Super Bowl, it's not going to be enjoyable for me. Either way, it's not going to be enjoyable for me.
Eagles get to end another dynasty, Shaun. You're not ready for that?
Get a split jersey, Cap, or Shaun.
I ain't Mama Kelsey out here. Or Kaz is the one who reminds me that it's not actually Kelsey, it's Kels. But yes, I'm not the mom of 2 players, so you won't see me, or the dad. You're not going to see me out here with a split jersey. But I'm going to enjoy the commercials in a couple of weeks. I'm for sure going to enjoy some commercials as we keep things moving here on episode number 133 of Stats Over Politics. Shaun Holko alongside Kevin Dent, Jaevon Toddy, and Kaz Johnson. Guys, now it's time to close things out with our final 2 favorite recurring segments, 2 of our favorite recurring segments, and we will start things off with a little bit of a pop quiz, because we haven't had one in about a month, and I just wanted to update everyone about our leaderboard. So the Shaun's pop quiz scoreboard is as follows. Jaevon has 17, Kevin has 12, and Kaz, I know that you haven't participated in every Shaun's pop quiz, and so context matters, but Kaz has 2. Kevin has 12. Jaevon has 17. And so we will start things off by mentioning, since we don't have a segment in depth this week regarding all the NFL head coaching vacancies that have been filled. All of them but one have now been filled, and that is the New Orleans Saints, as the Bears, as we covered last week, hired Ben Johnson as their next head coach. The Cowboys, in a shocking move, hired Brian Schottenheimer. The Jaguars hired Liam Cohn. The Raiders brought Pete Carroll out of retirement. The Patriots, they hired Mike Vrabel, and the Jets hired Aaron Glenn. And so the question for this week, there are 5 answers to this week's question. And the question is, there are 5 current NFL head coaches that once played for the teams that they now lead. And we will just Toddy. All right. So Toddy, then Kevin, then I'll toss to Kaz after that. So I'll repeat the question one more time. We got 5 answers to this. There are 5 current NFL head coaches who once played for the teams that they now lead. Toddy, who are one of those coaches?
Aaron Glenn. He used to play for the Jets.
Ding, ding, ding. That is correct. New York Jets head coach Aaron Glenn once played for the New York Jets after coming out of Texas A&M University. So that's one answer. Toddy, you got 1 of 5. Kevin, who's the next one?
Mike Vrabel.
Ding, ding, ding. That is correct. As Mike Vrabel just got hired by the New England Patriots. He was inducted into their Ring of Honor earlier this season, and now Mike Vrabel returns to the Patriots to be their head coach. Kevin gets a point. Kaz, now on to you. There are 3 other active NFL head coaches that once played for Toddy. At this point, we're just going in the circle. So, but Kaz, who is a current NFL head coach that plays for a team that they once played for or coaches for?
Dan Campbell.
Ding, ding, ding. That is correct. Dan Campbell once played for the Detroit Lions, who he is now the head coach of. 2 more answers on the board. You guys are flying through this one. Toddy, who's another head coach that once played for the team they are now the leader of?
I'll take D'Amico Ryans for 100, Alex.
Ding, ding, ding. That is correct. D'Amico Ryans once played for the Houston Texans, and he is now their head coach. Toddy gets another point. Kevin, you can close us out with a clean sweep if you can get this final answer. If not, it'll go back to Kaz, and then we'll go around the rotation one last time. After that, it'll be a free-for-all. But, Kevin, I'm confident that you got this. Who is the final of these 5 head coaches?
Recently hired Aaron Glenn, now coaching the New York Giants. Or New York Jets.
That was the first answer that Toddy got. So Toddy said Aaron
Glenn. Let me cook. Sorry.
Okay. I don't know. Toddy, do we give him a redo? Do we give him a redo?
Yeah, because it wasn't wrong.
No.
It wasn't a wrong answer.
You gotta pay attention. He's not paying attention.
Toddy became Italian there.
Whatever.
Kaz,
I don't have a guess.
Okay.
All right. 4 guys I had. I don't know who the 5th guy is.
All right. So, Kaz, do you have any idea who the 5th active NFL head coach? You're choosing from a pool of 28 answers.
Yeah, this
we already
sucks.
identified 4. So there's one more guy.
I'm going to think a little bit.
I don't know.
I have no idea who the 5th guy is.
I ain't gonna hold you. I don't know either. I feel like it's gonna be like an older dude for some reason. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, fuck it, Andy Reid.
Oh, I know.
I know he played for other team too, but I'm saying Andy Reid.
Andy Reid is incorrect, unfortunately. When I think of Andy Reid in his pre-coaching career, I think of him as a teenager, as like the 6-foot teenager in the punt, pass, and kick competition.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it.
No, you don't. I got it.
Well, Kevin, we got one more go around in the rotation.
You don't got
and so we're tossing this one to Jaevon. After Jaevon, it'll go to Kevin, then Kaz. After Kaz gets one more guess, then it's a free-for-all. So
is it
one more opportunity
coach for their team or played in the NFL? Like it has to be
talking about paying attention.
Jim Harbaugh.
5 current NFL head coaches once played for the teams they now lead. That's the question, Todd.
Jim Harbaugh.
Ding, ding, ding. That is correct. Jim Harbaugh
Wow, damn.
once
I guess
played
I'm wrong.
for the San Diego Chargers, but it's the same franchise. So now that he leads the Los Angeles Chargers, Jim Harbaugh is correct. Shout out to Adam Schefter for this
Only at
week's
the top,
Shaun
Kev.
Pop Quiz question. So there you go. There's the answers. And there's a photo of Aaron Glenn once playing for the New York Jets. So that does it for Shaun's Pop Quiz this week. As Toddy picks up 2 points, Kevin picks up a point, and as well as Kaz also picks up a point for Dan Campbell. And so Jaevon now has 20, Kevin has 13, and Kaz has 3. So congrats to you all for picking up
It's
points
lonely
this
at the
week.
bottom.
It's just like Gary with the DNPs. I mean, it's hard to count against them. But so that does it.
Aaron Glenn. Damn. I thought I would cook too. I was like, bro, no one said this.
Yeah, Toddy named that
who
one
was your
first.
guess? Kevin, were you gonna say Jim Harbaugh?
No.
Oh, he was.
I was gonna say Todd Bowles.
Oh,
Okay,
I was
okay,
thinking him too.
Because he played for the Bucks, didn't he?
I don't think he did. Otherwise, he would have been on that Schefter list. But
I could have sworn I thought so. When he got the job, they said that, but I was like, yeah, I wasn't too sure. That was my shot in the dark.
I'll have to look deep into that. Something I wanted to add that I didn't get a chance to say during the NFC Championship segment is that since 2002, the Philadelphia Eagles have hosted 6 NFC Championship games. No other team has hosted 5. No other team has hosted 4. The Niners and the Seahawks have each hosted 3. This is since 2002. The Eagles have doubled up the next closest teams.
Been to
when it
4
comes to-
and advanced 4 times.
Yep. So there you go. The Eagles are on their way back to the Super Bowl. But Kevin, if you could now close us out, and Toddy, we got something for you at the end. If you could shout it out for us. But before we get there, Kevin, we have our other favorite recurring segment, one of them, and that is this or that.
All right, so this week for this or that, there's been a lot of conversations around Jahmyr Gibbs. So I figured there's no way for us to iron this out, then bring it up to a this or that. So this week we have this or that, Jahmyr Gibbs. First name up, Kyron Williams.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs. Well, next name, James Cook.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Next name, Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs. all the
Jahmyr
way.
Gibbs.
Bijan is that guy.
Bijan Robinson. Bijan
Jahmyr's
Robinson.
that guy. Jahmyr's that guy.
Next name, Josh Jacobs.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Jahmyr
Well,
Gibbs.
okay. Are we talking about right now or okay? Josh Jacobs. He was
Jahmyr
dominant.
Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Toddy.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
I'm gonna say Jahmyr Gibbs. Josh Jacobs is a dog though.
It's about to get feisty.
No, it ain't.
CMC.
Oh, yeah.
CMC.
Crystal McCaffrey.
I mean,
He'd
if
be
we're
hurt,
talking,
though. That's the thing. Kevin's gonna be
yeah,
like, he'd be hurt.
yeah.
He'd
Well,
be
yeah.
hurt.
If we're talking about a healthy CMC, yeah, give me
A healthy
all day.
CMC. You guys got to think about it. Jahmyr Gibbs put up 1,400 yards and he splits carries.
Yeah,
That's
I
one
know
of those
CMC
things.
is like that, but Jahmyr Gibbs, it's not crazy to say Jahmyr Gibbs over CMC.
I mean, as of last year, CMC was the best running back in the NFL. I'm not going to have one injury-riddled season change my opinion that much.
I wouldn't say one. He's been
Not
hurt
even
a lot
that.
of times.
Just let this change your opinion. David Montgomery has 700 yards. That's 700 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't get to get. He
wonder how
split
much-
carries and he had 1,500 yards.
I wonder how much Isaac Guerrero had this year.
All
We're
right.
not gonna do that.
So, Cass, who you taking?
I'll take CMC.
Hey, all right.
I'll take CMC.
Next name, Derrick Henry.
Oh gosh, Derrick Henry, give me the bowling ball.
Give me the king.
Phew.
The king.
Last name.
Well, who are you
It-
taking?
don't
Dom?
just-
Or
Yeah.
Kevin?
We got to hear from you.
I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs. Dog.
Of course he is.
I mean, right now, you're telling me you're not gonna take the young guy?
Yeah, if we're talking right now,
Derrick
I'll
Henry
take
rushed for like
the old
1,600
Toddy,
yards.
I understand that,
Shit,
but you're
more than
not
that.
listening to me when I say this.
What are we
Listen,
talking here? What do you
listen to
mean?
me when I say this. 1,400 yards, and he splits carries. 1,400 yards. David Montgomery ran for 780 yards. That is 780 yards we now give Jahmyr Gibbs. In 3 games without David Montgomery, it was not crazy to say Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best running backs in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's just 3 games without David Montgomery. So you give me a full season of Derek and a full season of Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay.
That's fair. That's fair.
Next name, we're all going to be united.
In the podcast. In the fucking podcast before you even say it. Don't even say it.
The man, the myth, the legend. Paul Barkley.
I'll take Saquon.
That's the best running back that all of you guys have ever seen. With your own 2 eyes, by the way.
Well,
This or that.
We didn't even say nothing. We didn't say nothing.
Well, that ain't all. There's nothing to say.
I mean, I said Saquon. All bias aside, I'll take Saquon with that.
It's Shaun Barkley. Shaun Barkley.
2K Shaun. 2K Saquon. But
He's pretty good.
Jahmyr Gibbs,
All right.
a whole season by himself. It's not crazy to say he'll be a top 3 running back. It's not crazy to say.
I don't disagree.
But that means who falls out? Is it your boy in Santa Clara?
I don't know.
Well,
It can't be Derek, and it's not Saquon.
If he never gets healthy, then yeah, he's falling on out of it.
I mean, still, like
there were
Jahmyr
some
Gibbs
people.
catches the ball too. Like Jahmyr Gibbs probably had about 600, 700 receiving yards.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, injury. I had people telling me when CMC missed week 1 that his whole career was over, and I'm like, come on, like that he was never going to come back. And I was like, you think you're exaggerating a little bit? At least he came back for 2 games, so he didn't miss the whole season and play into that narrative. But I feel like that, and that's even more painful. I feel like that's why that Super Bowl was probably his peak, and for them to lose that Super Bowl when he's at his peak. I'm just hurting my own heart even more. But Toddy, before we get out of here, you wanted to highlight a small business that we wanted to shout out.
That's right, you guys. Around the corner, Valentine's Day. I know you guys got your wife, your girlfriend. You know, you guys are looking at what you're trying to do. You guys need to head on down. Follow the TikTok down below. You need some sweets, some cookies. You need some strawberries made for your girl. I know you guys, y'all don't try and go out there and spend $100, $150. Go ahead, go down to, you got to tap in with my mom, man. She's out here. She's doing the damn thing. She's making cookies. She's making treats. She's doing it all. Go ahead and make sure, hit her down low on the TikTok. That's the same Instagram and the same TikTok. So if you guys need your treats, you need something done for Valentine's Day, it's around the corner, man. Y'all need to go ahead and y'all need to go down and y'all need to tap in with my mom, man. Get right. Go ahead. Hey, man, get it right. Don't get it tight, man.
Yes, sir.
The TikTok name is Dat Niner Chick. Out of all the names that she could have chose, mom's one ahead. Okay. All right, I hear you.
Hey, man, I was born in it.
I ain't gonna lie, I didn't know that. I didn't. Now I know.
I was born in it.
Mom is. Yep, she's forever faithful.
Just to toot my own horn, Jahmyr Gibbs had 52 catches for 530 yards.
We get it. He's very good, Kevin.
Bro,
he's very good.
Bro, add on this and 500 yards. It's not crazy to say that he's better than CMC.
Yo, Toddy, I ain't gonna hold you.
He's literally the offensive player of the year last year.
You have a really good ad voice. That was really good promotion right there.
When we get famous, Toddy's got to do the ads.
Yeah, you got to do the ads, bro. That was good.
Yeah. Come on, get it right. Don't get it tight.
He said, head on over to that Niner Chick.
Hey, for all the sponsors that want to come out and sponsor the show, our DMs are open.
Toddy got to go sweat out this Arizona game because
Arizona's
up at half.
Thank you, Kevin. Yes.
Iowa
State is down by 4 points at halftime, and I am beside myself. Arizona went on a 14-0 run. 14 points to 0.
On Honest question. Does your mom's service deliver?
Say that one more time, Kaz. I couldn't hear you.
Does your mom's business, does it deliver, like ship? Like,
Yeah, we could get, we can make something happen for you.
Oh, you just gonna make it happen, huh?
Yeah,
Make it happen. Man. You gonna find a way.
Come on, we're gonna find a way. We're gonna get it right. We ain't gonna get it right.
I love it.
Before we get out of here, for the listeners, audio only listeners, you can't see this, but there will be a third frame on the way. It's coming.
Oh my god!
Right in the middle.
Kev, do you want to tell them? Do you want to tell them what it is?
Nah, they gotta wait and see.
They gotta wait and see. Okay.
I mean, there is no way that it's not a Saquon jersey. Like,
I will say he has a similar jersy.
You better say Shaun.
Very similar.
Had to get them into the Cooper DeZean jersey. So, the vibes are high. The vibes are high in the Dent household.
Well, I'm happy for you because for Toddy and I, it's been a rough NFL season, and I'm just glad that you and Cass have something to be happy about. Now we've not all in
Cancun.
we are well tanned because we have been in Cancun for so long.
I mean, if the Eagles win, though, doesn't everybody win? Because everyone doesn't want the Chiefs to win.
I don't know. Do we actually win though? I don't think we win. Niners fans don't win.
I mean, we don't have to hear any more of the three-peat.
Yeah, but then we get to hear Kevin and Kaz.
Then you get to hear the Eagles three-peat. So I mean, I don't know which one would be worse, but
I ain't gonna lie.
True.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna be insufferable until the next Super Bowl.
Kaz, you going to the parade?
Your boy's broke. Hell no.
How far is that from you, Kaz? I'm dead ass thinking about going to the parade.
Wait, to Philly?
Mm-hmm.
It's a smooth, like about 12-hour drive, 11-hour drive.
Never mind.
Yeah.
12 hour.
Well,
I'll say 5, 6.
I think it's actually closer to 11, 10, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah.
And I will add that if you guys are interested in going to a parade, flights to Missouri are a lot cheaper than flights to Philadelphia and to Pennsylvania.
There we go.
John, brother, I don't think I can come back on the podcast if I know it. I'm feeding us twice. I don't know if I can show my face. I don't know if I can take it. And 2 of them on us, bro.
Well, and I know that the Niners only had one of them in a potential 3-peat, but that's like it may seem like I'm just being a hater, and that's understandably so, but like I genuinely started to feel sad because it was all of the emotions that I felt from last year in losing to the Chiefs for the second time in the Super Bowl. Like my pick may not align with my emotions, but I genuinely hope you guys don't have to experience what Toddy and I went through last year.
They can't keep getting away with this.
We're not.
They can't. At
some
point,
they
somehow do. They somehow do.
It's gonna be.
I've been seeing.
We're
gonna get an engagement after the game, bro.
All I'm saying
let them win and he get on one knee, bro. I'll never watch the NFL again.
The only difference between what you had to deal with versus what we aren't going to have to deal with is we have triple the team you guys had when you guys were there. That was also a jab, by the way, because we're just that much better.
I'm well aware.
This Eagles team is going to. I'll save it.
For next week.
I'll save it.
Next week.
I'll save it.
Yeah, I was just about
Gary
to say.
got my money, and I'm coming for it back. He's had my $100 in his bank account for 2 years. I want my shit back.
Well, I will just say the audio only listeners just missed out on Kaz going nuts, and that's why you got to tune in on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch so you can enjoy this Stats Over Politics content. And we're back at 7:00, and so we're all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And if you guys are enjoying this banter, especially when it comes to this upcoming Super Bowl, make sure to tap in with us next week on episode number 134 of Stats Over Politics as we do a full Super Bowl preview, every inch, nook, and cranny that you can imagine. We got it covered for you next week. But make sure to give us a like on YouTube. It helps us a lot. And if you enjoy the podcast, hit subscribe to get notifications when we go live. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Stats Over Politics. I hope you didn't delete the app like I did, because now I can't get TikTok back on my phone. Still. Well, I haven't checked in a couple days, so maybe the App Store. But I checked 4 days afterwards. Still wouldn't let me download it. And so,
GameStop giving people $400 for a phone with TikTok.
Yeah, no.
I almost gave them, bro.
I respect
folks.
I respect.
Wait, GameStop really do that?
Yes.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So look at that. TikTok and other ByteDance apps are not available in the country or region you're in. Even though I already had it downloaded, I tried to re-download it and they won't let me re-download it. So
Bro,
they sell on
eBay for a couple bands, bro.
Yeah,
People selling iPhones on eBay right now.
That was the longest 12 hours of my life, bro.
Y'all remember Flappy Bird? It's a real thing. When Flappy Bird went away and they were selling Flappy Bird iPhones with Flappy Bird on it, it's the same thing with TikTok. People are really buying this shit. This ain't no joke.
Absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. But I hope you all didn't delete TikTok because Kevin's still putting great content out there at Stats Over Politics. You're going to also find us on Instagram at that same name or on X at Stats or Politics. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on all podcast platforms. And if you're enjoying the show, give us those 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. As you guys have been tuned into episode number 133 of Stats Over Politics for my guys Jaevon Toddy, Kevin Dent, and Kaz Johnson. I'm your host, Shaun Holko. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on another episode of Stats Over Politics. Peace, everybody.
Go Birds.